welcome everyone. My name is Janet. I am working through the book of Deuteronomy, which is in the King James's Bible. That's the Bible I am using. I'm working through chapters 8, 9 and 10 today. So we will jump right in to chapter 8. So we start with God reminding the Israelites to remember that in those 40 years in the wilderness, he has provided for them in so many ways, with food, with water, with all of these amazing things. He gave them clothing and he made sure that their feet did not swell up. So many things. He also tested their loyalty and their hearts by humbling them on this long journey throughout the wilderness towards the promised land. Now in this chapter, gratitude is so important. It gets reiterated, to be grateful to God. Moses is telling the people, be grateful. Because remember, he is stood up there, he's giving this sermon. This is what Deuteronomy is all about. He is relaying all of the things that have happened to the Israelites right up to this point, because they're ready now to go into the promised land. And he is reiterating all this because they have to be those divine people if they are going to enter and prosper into that land. So he's saying, be grateful, obey God's commandments, worship the Lord only, don't worship any false idols. Praise your Lord for all he's done and continues to provide. Again, including the food, including their flocks and herds and silvers and golds, that is going to be in abundance for them as they continue and they will grow. But he says when they do grow, don't become complacent. Don't start thinking about other things and straying from the path of the Lord, which he's seen in many times with the Israelites. Remember who brought you out of slavery. This is really important. Again, we go into further explanation in what God has provided for the Israelites. He's given them water in a place so desolate. There were scorpions, there were snakes there, and he has brought water to them out of rocks. He's given them manna, bread to eat, and God continued to test them. So when they became hungry and thirsty, that was his test to see if they would still serve him. And did they? Well, if you've read the previous books, you'll know the answer to that. And Moses really strongly says, remember God always. Do not let him strive from your mind. That's why there's so many rules throughout this book being reiterated. The rules and the commandments that were given by God are being really brought forth for the Israelites to really retain. That is Moses' hope in continuing this sermon. He says, do not forget God. Do not worship false idols. For if you do, you will be destroyed. And don't forget all the other nations that have been destroyed before you. So remember, this is a truth. This is not something to be taken lightly. You will be destroyed if you go against God, if you disobey. So don't forget him. Keep him in the forefront of your mind. Keep your faith strong and long to the Lord. And that is the closure of chapter 8. Now in chapter 9, we have the Israelites positioned on the opposite side of the Jordan River, looking over to that promised land. And the Israelites are about to embark on a journey of war. They are going to defeat the nations that currently reside over there, which is the Anakites. And they are far stronger than the Israelites, far stronger. And they have to have this strong faith in their hearts and be guided by the Lord if they are to defeat them. So these words that Moses is telling them right now are so important if they want to have this success and if they want to be in possession of that promised land. Now it details the cities in Canaan had high walls. And God says that the Israelites aren't getting this land because they are so righteous. They're getting it because the current residents in that land are wicked. And they have gone against his laws. They don't follow them. They worship other gods. And he wants them out. Then Moses describes the time when the Israelites sinned. And it was at Horeb, when he was up on the mount. They, while left for a short time, it was only 40 days and 40 nights, they ended up making a golden calf and worshipping it instead of God. They turned in such a short space of time, which so angered the Lord. And the Lord hadn't just seen them doing this once. They were continuously rebelling. I mean, he just saved them out of Egypt. He got them out of the slavery, and as soon as they got out there and they were on that safe side of the sea, the Red Sea, then they start mourning, and then just things were constantly this constant rebellious. And I think God just reached that point where he just had enough, and this was when he just wanted to kill them all. And he wanted Moses to be that one that he started again a new nation. He was trying again way back with Noah and the ark. So the Israelites had a lot to learn, as you can see, from this time of sinning. So then we move into the stone tablets and what went on there. So for 40 days and 40 nights, Moses was at the top of Mount Horeb, and the Lord had inscribed on 2 stones the 10 commandments. And he told Moses to take these tablets down to the Israelites because they had become corrupt. So he knew, because he's the Lord, what was going on down there while he was busy doing this. But this was for Moses to see with his own eyes. And when Moses came down that mountain, he saw them. He described to the people who he's talking to in this sermon and tells them how angry he was that he ended up smashing these tablets on the ground, and he destroyed this golden calf that they were worshipping, melted it down, just destroyed it totally. And God at this point wants to destroy them all, even Aaron, because Aaron was one of the people who was kind of leading them down this path. So he was just so angry, the Lord, and it took Moses to go and pray and plead with the Lord not to forget his covenant with the people, that come on, they can do this. He had faith in the people, Moses did. So he prayed, and so the Lord eventually listened to Moses, and he gave them a longer time really in the wilderness, because obviously he needs to test them more. It's okay, I will allow them to go to this promised land, but they're not going there straight away now. They're going to have to stay out there for a long time until I feel they are ready to proceed. And that closes chapter 9. So chapter 10, our final chapter today. Now, as Moses had smashed these 2 tablets, he ends up getting 2 more from God, exactly the same way that he inscribes onto these stone tablets. And then he instructs Moses to make a wooden ark, which he does out of shittim wood or acacia wood, as you would know it today. And the tablets were to be placed into this wooden ark, which Moses did at God's request. So then the Israelites travelled on to Mosra, and this is where Aaron passed away, and he was buried in this land, and the Israelites mourned for quite a few days of the passing of the high priest Aaron, whose son then took over the role, Eleazar, and he became the new high priest. From here they travelled along the water edge to Jotbathah, and it was the Levi tribe that were assigned to be God's workers. They were the ones who were going to carry out the blessings of the people, and they were the ones who would be carrying the ark. So keeping everything that is holy to God was assigned to the Levites. They were also told that they would not inherit any of the promised land. Instead, they inherited God. So they got God instead of the land, and their lives would be devoted to his work. Now, Moses' job, when he came down from the mount by God, was told to lead the people, to keep them obeying his rules. He was always instructing them, please obey the Lord, serve him, do as he asks, and your life will go well. Or if not, your life will be cursed. So his job was really to keep them moving forth and to keep them obeying God's laws. And also, if they wanted to come to him as well, he would then go to God and get the answers. He was that conduit between the people and God. And Moses ends this chapter by saying, everything belongs to the Lord, that you are his children, the Israelites, who he loves, and reminds them that the ancestors, when they entered Egypt, there were only 70 of them. And now, if the Israelites looked around them, there was so many more, like as many as the stars in the sky. And that is the end of these 3 chapters. So again, we've had a lot more reminders of keeping God's laws, keeping his commandments, reminding the younger generation now of the Israelites how their older generation had sinned, what had become of them when they did sin, and how to keep his laws, his commandments, how it would bring so much prosperity to their lives, so much food, water, clothing. They were going to be provided for always. And that's always what has happened when they've obeyed his rules. So Moses is really trying his hardest, bless him, to reiterate this to the people before they move across into that land, because he will no longer be with them to guide them. And it is that time when they will be on their own, and hopefully the wisdom of Moses, from what he's learned all of those years, will carry on to the Israelites, the younger generation, and they will flourish in this land of milk and honey. So thank you for being here, and I'll be back again with more chapters from Deuteronomy. Take care now. Bye.